Welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, the only show that provides you with the best insight and information to everything Franklin County sports. And now here's your host, Bobby C.
Hello and welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. Want to welcome you here today. We have a lot to talk about here on the show today. And I want to let you know that if it wasn't for our wonderful underwriters, we wouldn't be able to be here to be able to give you all this great information every week. And of course, our producers are very important as well. Thank you so much to Philippe Simone and also to John Meisner for the great job that they do. Also, a big thank you goes out to Sean Hubert and Hubie's, the restaurant and tavern located right there on Avenue A in Turner's Falls, also by our friends over at Albert Hearing Services. Lisa Albert's been an audiologist for just about 30 years. Also, we have Denny's Pantry on Burniston Road in Greenfield. Thank you so much to Aaron and also to CAC. And we also want to say a big thank you to Mark and Linda Snow from the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant located in Burniston. Well, before we get started on talking about what teams are in, what teams are not, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about the finally is how I'm going to say this, finally, all of the All-Western Mass teams have come out so we could talk about who was able to make it for our local teams of the fall. It's called the All-Western Mass teams. Now, for volleyball, I have the information here that in volleyball for Division III, the first team selections were from Frontier Regional, Lauren Davenport, Olivia Dean, Elizabeth Fuqua, from Turner's Falls, Taylor Murphy, and also from Frontier, Ashley Talega. Congratulations, ladies. Second team selections for All-Western Mass for volleyball Division III goes to Riley Eisler of Frontier and Haley Orlowski. They both had a chance to make second team for the All-Western Mass Volleyball Division III. In golf for Division II, we have from Frontier, Mikey Cordoff. Also from Frontier, Kyle Maynard and Gunnar Moore. They all made first team for golf in Division II. All-Western Mass selection for second team goes to Ryan Cody from Greenfield and Kaylin Evans of Frontier. Congratulations to those guys. For Division III in golf, first team selection goes to Mikey McGoldrick from the Franklin County Tech School. Congratulations goes out to him. And also to Nate Pelletier from the Franklin County Tech School. For second team selections, we have Mike Patnode from the Franklin County Tech School that made All-Western Mass for Division III golf. Congratulations for Mikey making the second team. Nice job to Mikey and also to Nate for making first team Division III. For football, for the Division VII All-Western Mass, first team from Frontier Regional is Corbin Blight, Garrett DeForest, and Matt Hildreth. Congratulations, guys. For first team in Division VIII is Austin Demers from the Franklin County Tech School. Also, Jared Bergman from Franklin County Tech. Sam Trudeau from the Franklin County Tech. Colby Avery from Greenfield High School. Danny Nooney Vega from Greenfield, All-Western Mass. And also R.J. Bird from Greenfield as well for first team selection. From Turner's Falls, we have a slew of guys who are able to make All-Western Mass first team. That's Andy Craver, Dom Carmy, Jake Comiskey, also Kyle Dodge, Rylan Castine, Tyler Lavin, and Wyatt Keith. Awesome job, guys, to be able to make All-Western Mass Division VIII football. Second team, Tim Fritz from the Franklin County Tech School, Nate Hazelton from Greenfield, Sean Davenport from Mohawk, Jaden Whiting from Turner's Falls, and John Fritz from Turner's Falls. Second team, All-Western Mass. Congratulations, guys, on a wonderful job done this fall. Well, for cross country, first team selection for boys cross country in Division II goes to Karsten Carey of Frontier, also to Dennis Simmons of Mohawk, and Alex Sharp from Frontier. Second team selection goes to Peter Carey from Frontier Regional. He also was able to make second team Division II cross country for boys. In girls Division II cross country, first team selection goes to Megan Davis from Mohawk Trail Regional. Second team selection goes to Louisa Calamay of Greenfield High School, only an 8th grader, making second team All-Western Mass. Wonderful job. Also, Erica Lumen from Mohawk Trail Regional and Erica Sluzik from Mohawk Trail Regional also made it in as a freshman. In field hockey, we got a lot of ladies who made field hockey all Western Mass. Here we go, Division II, first team. From Frontier, Lily Spencer. Also from Frontier, Olivia Vasilio. From Greenfield, Audrey Brusciano. Also from Greenfield, Katie Hazelton, Reagan Hickey, and Samantha Smith. From Mohawk Trail Regional, Caitlin Johnston. From Turners Falls High School, we have Amber Taylor and Cassidy Wozniak. So congratulations, ladies. First team selection for Division II field hockey this fall. All Western Mass, Division II, second team. We have Emily DeMeo from Frontier, Maddie Kucheski from Greenfield, Olivia Joy from Greenfield, Maya LaSure from Mohawk, and Taylor Williams from Mohawk. So there you go, folks. Those are all of the Western Mass fall sport, all Western Mass players for all the sports that we have. We also want to let you know that we do have a couple of soccer players that did pretty well too. And our soccer guys, unfortunately, were not out at the time that we were trying to get this put together. So we will share that with you on the show next week. As we continue on with the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, I want to welcome you here today. I'm Bobby C. You know, there's a lot of things that are happening right now as we get ready for tourney time. We're going to talk tournament. We're going to talk about boys basketball, girls basketball, the great high school hockey team we have at Greenfield High School. And you know what else we're going to do too? We're going to be able to talk about milestones that have been hit, and they've been hit every single week for the last 2 months. We've had a milestone happen. How sweet it is to be able to have such great athletes right here in our area. We hope you're enjoying the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report each and every week. Make sure you tell your friends. We're on Facebook. We're also on gctv.org. We're on the FCAT down in South Deerfield. You know, you can get us. I always post it up on Facebook every Wednesday night, so you're able to get that information out. But just remember, you can always go to gctv.org and you can watch this show and past shows anytime you want, 24/7, right from your computer. How beautiful is that? Want to thank our underwriters here today, the 4 Leaf Clover Restaurant in Berniston, also by Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield, Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield, and by Hubie's, the Tavern and Restaurant on Avenue A in Turners Falls. And we also appreciate our great producers we have here today, Philippe Simone and John Meisner. Thank you guys very much. Well, you know, there was a lot of excitement that happened in the last couple of weeks. Teams that we thought were never going to have a chance to get in the tournament have definitely proved some of us wrong, which I think is perfectly fine. I wanted you to prove me wrong. And one of those teams that is hot right now going into playoffs is the Turners Falls Thunder in boys basketball. That's right. You know, when they ended up losing to Greenfield 54-50 and their record ended up being 6-8, people thought, wow, how are they going to pull this off with the schedule that they had ahead of them? Well, let me tell you something, folks. They went out and they were on fire, and they have won 5 of their last 6 games, and that's pretty big. And the team that they lost to in their last game was to Pioneer, one of the top teams around. And the thing is that they were without one of their top players, Chase Novak, who ended up rolling an ankle and hurting himself. So by doing that, he had to take a game off because he wants to be available for the playoffs. And I totally get it. And I have no problem with him missing the game because of that injury, because they need his offense. With his offense and Tyler Lavin doing the great job that they've done from the outside and the extra contributions that they've got from other players that have been able to really help this team, like the likings of Anthony Peterson down low, their big guy, and Ryan Campbell, who has been able to do a great job at their point and being able to drive to the hoop to score points. These guys have really done a great job, but one of their biggest assets right now is their defensive play. Yes, the offense has been okay, but boy, the defense has been phenomenal for Turners Falls High School, and that's why they are on a wonderful run going into the playoffs. And you got to give credit where credit's due, that these kids have worked very, very hard. I'll admit, I was a little disappointed with this team on how they started at the beginning of the season, knowing the talent that they had. But then I realized, well, how can we get mad? You know what? They had a lot of guys that were injured at the beginning of the season. You look back at the injuries of this team and you say, hey, you can't be disappointed, man. You got to be saying, are these kids going to be able to get back so that they can be able to help their team? Well, that's exactly what they did. These guys started to heal. They started to get things done. You know, the defense has been just absolutely awesome. Another kid who plays tenacious defense is Kyle Dodge. He does a great job for the Thunder, too. You know, I look back and I see these kids and I say, wow, how much this team really has improved since the first month of the season. But also, they were down a few guys, and that made a big difference. Now that they have a healthier team, they're really showing the true colors of a team that is starting to play well together. And I just want to say to the guys, congratulations, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck in the upcoming tournament, because you guys have really worked hard. You know, another team that's really proven themselves here during the basketball season is that great team up in good old Northfield, and that's Pioneer Valley Regional High School. You know, they play really good basketball. They play good defense. They also are very good on the offensive end. They have many guys that can score. They have a freshman who's been able to really light it up lately in Jared Hubbard. They also have Ryan Potter, another young kid who's been able to step up. But they also have the guys who we expected to do well this year in Zach Fox. Also, we expected to be able to see Garrett Cody have the year that he's had. And we also know that Troy Emond has been very effective as well. But this team has done a great job under Coach Scotty Thayer, who looks so much more relaxed as a coach working with the kids over the last couple of seasons. You know, it's nice when you got a group of kids that want to buy into your system. So this way, everybody seems to be comfortable on what needs to be done. And if you're not doing it, then that's when sometimes a coach has to sort of step up and say, hey, you guys aren't getting it done, man. You got to make the adjustments. You got to be able to fix this to make things better. Well, this Pioneer team, after coming off a wonderful season last year, has been able to really get things done this year on the offensive end and the defensive end, and have proven to be one of the top teams in Division 4. Should be very interesting on being able to see what the pairings will be this coming weekend. So yes, when we meet again next week, we're going to be able to give you all the lowdown of exactly what teams are in, what the seedings are, what the pairings look like, who ended up getting what seed, who ended up not getting what they should have gotten, because it always happens that way too, where some teams that you think are really deserving of a good seed don't always get it. They go by the Walker system. Not always agree with the Walker system, but that's what they go by. So you have to go by what they go by to be able to get the seedings as best they can corrected. And like I say, I don't always agree with it, but it is what it is. And I think most coaches have understood by now that that's the way you have to take the approach, that it is what it is. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So just get out there, play game after game, earn your wins, and you'll get to the championship. And that's what you need to do. So Pioneer, one of the top teams going in to this tournament. Another team we're going to talk about has sort of stumbling a little bit lately. And I I don't understand why, but I'll tell you, they are a good team. And this was a time where you wanted to see your team start to gel, not start to falter. And that's where Frontier comes in. The Frontier boys basketball team has been pretty much on fire for most of the year. But lately, over the last month, they've had some tough struggles. And they still got guys who can get it done. It's just that some of them haven't really got to the level that they were playing at about a month and a half ago. And that's got to be tough for Coach Ben Barshevsky, because Coach Ben Barshevsky has really done a wonderful job with this group of boys this year. And the way that he's been able to get these kids to buy in and be able to play, working with the big trees that he has with the Carey brothers, and being able to have the outside shooting that he's been able to get from guys like Owen Morris. And now Owen's been a little on of a slump right now over the last couple of weeks. And the Carey brothers, a little bit down as well. You know, they got beat by Smith Academy in a big upset. They also got beat just this past week by Greenfield High School in a very tough defensive battle. We'll say that Greenfield is another team that has really stepped things up. We'll talk about them in just a moment. But what I want to say is that as a coach, you want to be able to have your kids ready for the tournament. And right now, Frontier is going to do a few tweaking and a little bit of adjusting to be able to get back to where they were, the way they were playing in December and the month of January. Well, Greenfield High School was one of those teams that a lot of people said, what is going to happen with them? Are they going to be able to pull this off? They ended up getting beat by Hopkins Academy on their gym, and a game that had a lot of implications between Angelo Thomas and the community of Hadley. What we mean by that is that he was the head coach down there for many years, brought home a lot of championships with the guys that he was able to enjoy having, and those boys all left. And of course, Angelo being a teacher in the school district of Greenfield, with his family being in Greenfield, with his kid in the district here in Greenfield, Angelo wanted to be able to come back to the town where he played basketball and be able to coach his alma mater. And Angelo, first-year coach, was sort of put up against the wall as a coach with him and his team on how they were going to be able to fight to become a playoff team. Well, let me tell you right now, they went down to Frontier this past week. They ended up winning a battle, 39-38, and it came down to 2 free throws from a sophomore of Greenfield High School, Jake Sack, who was able to bury those 2 free throws, 2 very key free throws, and also some great outside shooting in that game by freshman Ryan Cody to give Greenfield the upset over Frontier. And how big was that? Well, let's put it to you this way. They're automatically guaranteed a share of the league title. If Frontier ends up getting beat by Athol, which I know is probably not going to happen, then Greenfield would get it outright. Otherwise, they'll be co-champions with Frontier, where 3 weeks ago, we said that it was a lock for Frontier to be able to have first place. But because they've been stumbling in some of the key losses in their division that they ended up losing to Smith Academy and to Greenfield, things all sort of changed. And this is where Greenfield was able to capitalize with that big victory down at Goodnoe Gymnasium to give them that opportunity to be able to be at least co-champions. So a wonderful job done by the Green Wave. They've also got 11 wins on the year, too. They're now 11-9, and they were just 2 weeks ago at 7 wins. So for them to be able to come out as hot as they have and be able to pull off these victories has been a good sign of how Greenfield is starting to grow as a basketball team as we get ready for postseason play. So a really great job done by them. You know, one of the teams that a lot of us have been talking about and wondering when things are going to start to improve was Mohawk Trail Regional High School. And I'm going to say this. I think they did improve this year. And I think that Darren Schmidt, first-year coach, did an awesome job with the kids this year. And I want to give credit where credit's due, that those kids go out and they work hard. And I mean it. They work hard. And they have taken their licks, let me tell you, over the last few seasons. And even though they've had a tough battle against some of the bigger teams here in our area that are much better than them, they've been able to compete with those middle-of-the-road teams and be able to win games. So to Coach Darren Schmidt and the kids up in Buckland, wonderful job by the year that you had this year. Really, don't put your head down. I think you guys did really well this year. It's really tough when you have to go up against teams that are a little bit better than you. There really isn't a comparison, unfortunately, between a team like Mohawk and a team like Frontier. It's a lot harder for them to be able to battle against the two Carey brothers when they only have one guy who could probably be able to compete with them. And really, that's only with size only, not with ability, only because it's just the way that the Carey brothers have been able to, play so much basketball. And that was Jackson Hicks. He's a big boy. He's able to use his body to be able to box out these guys. But when they're 3 inches taller than you are, all they have to do is just go over the top of you to be able to get those rebounds, and they can still not foul, and that's just the way it goes. So very tough to be able to go up against Frontier 2 times in the season because they're in your division. But a nice job done this year by Mohawk. I'm very proud of what the boys were able to do this season. A team that a lot of people have been wondering about is what happened to the Franklin County Tech. They started off the season so well. Now they're starting to just they hit the skids, man. They have hit the skids. And the big question is, are they going to get enough wins to be able to get into tournament? Well, I can tell you this. As of our taping today, they need 2 wins to be able to get in. They're making up some games from snow dates that they had to be able to cancel, so they've put a lot of games together in a matter of 2 weeks. This team does have to win their final 2 games of the year, or they're not in postseason play. So a very important week for the Franklin County Tech School boys basketball team. Hopefully they can find a way to be able to pull off these 2 wins so that they can continue into the postseason. So there you have it. Greenfield, they're in. Turners, they're in. Frontier, they're in. Also, Pioneer. And the team that we're waiting to see is the Franklin County Tech. Will they get in of the 6 schools that we cover here on the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report? Other teams that are in the tournament that are all part of our little area in our group of teams are Mahar Regional. They're in the tournament. Now, Hopkins Academy is playing Pioneer as we are doing the show here today. They are playing the night game. So we are doing our taping on a Tuesday in the afternoon. And tonight, down in Hopkins Academy, it's Pioneer versus Hopkins. If Hopkins wins this game against Pioneer, they make tournament. Otherwise, if they get beat, they're out this year. And that's something that hasn't happened in a long time because Hopkins has been in the tournament for many years, years after year, and that's because of the great coaching and the great players that they have had down in Hadley. Now we got to flip to the girls' side for playoff basketball. And we can tell you that the Greenfield Girls are definitely in. They're in for a good seed. They're in for a goal. They want to get back to the Western Mass Championship at the Cage again this year. They have the big 3, we call it, with Katie Hazelton, Sam Smith, and Reagan Hickey. 3 girls that have been able to dominate throughout the whole year. The only losses that this team has had are against Division I programs, both from the Boston area. So they lost, yes, to 2 really good Division I teams. So it was a good tune-up for this team to be able to see what Division I girls basketball is about. And I can tell you that they are going to get a good seed in this tournament. And it's always fun in girls Division II basketball because the competition is very, very good. Especially a couple of teams that are up in the Berkshires with Wacona and also with Hoosick Valley. Those 2 teams have excellent basketball programs for girls, and they also will be competing against Greenfield in that same division. So it should be very interesting on who the matchups will be down at the Cage on Championship Saturday, the Wave is hoping to get there. The one thing that we can say about Greenfield is also they have a very good younger group of kids. You know, you look and you say, who do they got coming back? Well, Katie Hazelton is coming back, so she's got a couple more years. You got a great freshman and Raquel Provost. She is going to be coming back for the next 3 years. They also have Kelsey Richardson, one of their bigger bodies that they can be able to use down low. They also have other players that are going to be able to step it up too. How about an 8th grader who's going to be a 9th grader next year, and Lily Kackelmeyer? And also, Brianna Rivera will be coming back for another season with this team. Christina Reed will be coming back for Greenfield. They have a lot of talent still that Coach Hickey can work with. Of course, it's a little different, though, when you have Reagan Hickey, a 1,000-point scorer, and Sam Smith, another 1,000-point scorer from Greenfield that will be gone at the end of the season. But don't worry, because the next 1,000-point scorer at GHS will be Katie Hazelton. She is an outstanding basketball player, and she has done a ton for this program. And they're looking to get to the cage this year, just like last year, for a championship. Another team that has really been able to show that they've worked hard this year is the Frontier Lady Redhawks. You know, they have really improved from the beginning of the season. Where they're at today says a lot about this team. But people have to remember something about Frontier. They're a tournament team that's very, very young. So they're one of the teams that has a lot of young players that are trying to get into tournament play. And it's quite a process, too. And the other process is that you had a coach that started the season with you but didn't end with you. Because of personal reasons, they ended up losing their head coach, Rick Recor, who ended up stepping down. He did that just a little past the halfway mark of the season. It was taken over by Sobieski, who ended up taking it over, Betsy. So Betsy has taken the reins with these girls. Her daughter, Amelia, has done a wonderful job for this team. You know, there's a lot of different girls who have been able to step it up. Olivia Dean has done a wonderful job for them, too. You know, there's a very young group of kids that are on this girls' basketball program. And I'll tell you, Frontier is going to be one of those teams that needs to be able to just get more playing time, because they just seem to get better and better each and every week. So you watch out. The future looks bright down in South Deerfield with their girls program. So congratulations, ladies, on the season that you've had, and keep up the good work. Yes, postseason is always fun, and hey, you never know. Taking 1 or 2 games and being able to walk away with victories also builds up a ton of confidence with the program. You know, the Pioneer girls, hey, what can we say about them, man? They made tourney, and I'll tell you why. Because they worked very hard this year. You know, there was a couple of key injuries that ended up hurting the team, but they didn't let that bother them over at Pioneer. And Coach Meg Burrington has done an amazing job with this group of girls this season. And they've been able to pick up some key wins. They're going to tournament. Olivia Rowe, a wonderful year with her, especially on the defensive end. Tons of blocks, tons of rebounds. Still gets some good points as well as the center. Great ball movement that they're able to do. Also opens up lanes for great players like Paige Loftman, who's been able to have a stellar year as a freshman guard for this team. Future's looking very bright for Pioneer and their girls basketball program. And another girl who's done well, too, is Steph Scoville. So congratulations goes out to her on the year that she has had as well. You know, a couple of girls that you don't see a lot of ink from, but you look at how they've been able to play defense. What about Autumn Flagg, who was a person who really came off the bench in more of desperation this year because of the fact that they had a couple of key injuries. So they really needed her. And with her being a senior this year, she wasn't sure if she was going to get a lot of playing time. But you know what? She proved to the coach, she proved to the team that she was part of this gig, and she has done a wonderful job. And I'm very proud of what Autumn, the senior, has been able to do this year. Her and Olivia Rowe will be gone, but don't worry, a lot of those other girls are all back for more basketball next season. So congratulations to the Lady Panthers, who will continue on in postseason play. Well, it was a tough game. Last night, McCann Tech took on Mohawk. The winner of that game would be guaranteed a playoff position. Well, we knew that McCann was already guaranteed their playoffs because of their 10 wins, and they ended up beating Mohawk and knocked them out of the tournament last night. And they beat them pretty convincingly. They beat them by 15. You know, Coach Larissa Miner, tough year for her. You know, she lost her dad to cancer, and that was her sidekick that she worked with up there. She was able to take this group of girls that are very young and very talented and was able to work with them and try to make things better. They just came up literally one game short of being able to be in postseason play. And the person that has just been outstanding for that program this season is Grace Pulaski. Grace has had an unbelievable season for them. I just want to say that she deserves some props for the great job that she's done. You know, another girl who's been able to help them out down low with a lot of their rebounds and blocks is Grace Ward. She's had a good year too. You know, there was a lot of kids who really contributed. You know, girls like Ashley Reynolds. You know, she's been on that team for all her years and being able to be a part of that program, and she graduates this season. But some of these younger classmen have been playing some good basketball, and Larissa Harrison will have that opportunity to be able to have those girls next season. You know, the Franklin County Tech girls, hey, listen, man, they had to reload. And I'm going to say one thing that I thought was great about this team is that they really started to come together hot near the end of the season. And Coach Sean Knightley is going to be so proud of what these girls have been able to do. You know, they started off pretty good, hit the skids a little bit. Then they started to reel in and get together and start playing better. Different girls stepping up every night. Jocelyn Crowning Shield, you know, you look at what she's been able to do for the last few years to help out her team. You know, this girl doesn't score a lot of points, but she plays really good defense. And, you know, I really like the way that Jemmy is able to play for that team. She has done an amazing job, too. You know, you look back and you say, wow, they have some really good players on this Franklin County Tech team that have worked well. They're almost like a guard-type team. They don't have really that big player. They have mainly guards that are able to shoot well and attack the basket, and that's what that team is about. And they try to play really good defense and get in your face. You know the old saying, get in your face? Well, that's what Coach Sean Knightley tries to preach to these girls, and they are going to postseason play. So you look back and you say, what do we have left? Well, we have the Turners Falls girls. You know, the Turners Falls girls had a full senior-laden team last year, girls who got a ton of playing time. So a lot of these girls that are playing on the team now, they didn't get hardly any playing time last season. Well, you know the old saying, if you don't practice or you don't play as much, it's a learning process. Well, this year, unfortunately, was a learning process in many ways. It was a learning process for the girls. It was a learning process for their new coach, Ed Marvel. And it also was a learning process for really the program, because there's so many young kids that were on this team that now Coach Marvel has got to work with this new group of younger players to get them to start playing together at a young age. So in 3 years from now, they're going to be able to be competitive and get in to postseason play. The last 2 seasons, Turners Falls was able to make it to the cage, which was a really big deal for this program under Coach Ted Wilcox. They had great players like Maddie Chimzinski, a 1,000-point scorer. They also had Aaliyah Sanders, Chloe Ellis. Those girls really stepped it up and were able to make that program grow. And now those girls are gone. they're now not available. So Coach Marvel had to start off with some new bodies and a pretty much new program. So this is where Coach Marvel, this is where he comes in, and he sets up his own program with these girls for the future. They ended up winning their first game of the season, their last game of the year, which was wonderful for them. Turned out to be a nice victory that they really wanted and needed, and they were able to get that. So congratulations to the Lady Thunder on picking up that win that was so needed in their program. It is a nice thing for you to be able to go into next year knowing that you were able to win your last game of the 2018-2019 season. So there you have it. Greenfield, in. Frontier, in. Pioneer, in. Franklin County Tech girls, in. Mohawk girls had their chance last night. They're out. Turners Falls girls are out. So that's what we have for our 6 teams that we talk about each and every week right here on the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Well, our hockey team's pretty good too, man. Whoa, yeah, they are very good. And the boys' hockey team just continues to win. They've been able to be a solid program. You know, Coach Adam Bouchard has quite a special program now, because what happened is when Turners Falls decided to get rid of their program last year and this year, Greenfield was able to be a full Franklin County co-op program, which means that all the schools here in the area all get to play for one team. It's almost, we call this the Franklin County All-Stars of high school athletes that are playing hockey, and they are good. And the best part about it is all the credit has to go to 3 places: good coaching, good work ethic of the kids, and the starter feeder, which is the Franklin County Hockey Association. You know, the Franklin County Hockey Association is really where it all starts for these kids at a very young age, starting at the age of 5. So you think about it, when they learn to skate at the age of 5, and now these kids are high school players. They've come out of the same rink playing with each other all these years. Now they're in high school and they get to play together as a group of all-stars. And that's exactly what this team is. And they are damn good. And I'll tell you right now, they are ready to make some noise in the upcoming Division 3A tournament. And boy, I am so looking forward to being able to root this team on. I would love to have them bring home a championship. It would be so nice to be able to do that right here in Franklin County when you're competing against some very good schools, especially teams like Belchertown, East Hampton, Amherst. Those teams are really good, and so is in Greenfield. So don't think that Greenfield is any different than any of those other 3 teams, because they're not. The thing is those 4 teams can be able to battle amongst each other. And it should be a very interesting 3A tournament with those teams involved. Looking forward to seeing how the Green Wave does. They got beat last year by 1 goal against East Hampton in the 3A final. Boy, it was a game that I was able to enjoy listening to. And this year, I want to see them bring home the gold. And I would love to see that big, big trophy sitting in the trophy case at GHS. A lot of kids have been able to be a part of milestones from that team. And Doug Hanoski, 100-point club. Also, Brian Bauman, 100-point club. Last year, we had Simmons. He was a 100-point club. I mean, these kids have worked so hard. And you talk about some of the kids who've been able to play some great hockey for them. And Sean O'Sullivan's done a great job for them. And Jacob Bryant has done a great job for them this season. Some of the guys you don't normally hear about, you know, like Derek Lanois has had a good year this year. You know, you got other guys who play good defense and be able to make an impact on the defensive end for them too. But what about a guy who has been stellar the last 2 seasons? And that's their goaltender, Riley Drew. Riley has done an amazing job for Greenfield in their hockey program this year. So, we talk about basketball. We talk about how great things ended up being with our hockey program as we get ready for tournament for everybody. We also have some really good skiers, too. We really do. You talk about Taylor Loomis, and you talk about Delaney, Corianne Delaney from Frontier. The guys, you got Ben Martino from Frontier. You got Bennett, Basitis. You also have Danny White from Mohawk, both those guys up there. You look back and you say, wow, these kids are really good. Yes, they are good. We have some really good skiing teams that have done well this year. Our boys and girls at Mohawk have been very dominant up there on the slopes at Berkshire East this year. They have made an impact on their berth as well as they get ready for the team tournament, which will be coming up very soon. So we're not just about high school tournament. We're not just about the hockey team. Well, we have downhill skiing as well. But you know what else just wrapped up? Wrestling. You want to talk about some great wrestlers? I could talk about great wrestlers. And I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some of these great wrestlers because they deserve to hear their names on our show here today. Want to welcome you to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. And so glad you made it here today. This is what it's about, folks. It's about the kids. It's about achievements. It's about the end of the year and getting to tournament play. It's hard work. We talked about all of our fall all-stars that made all Western Mass. Not just all league, all Western Mass. And there was a ton of kids from our area that did that this season. Well, when it comes to wrestling, we had a couple of teams that really got it done this year. Frontier and the Franklin County Tech. They had guys that were muscling it. And I'll tell you a couple of big milestones this year, too. How about 100 wins for Kyle Burnell, Franklin County Tech? How about Mr. Wood, Brody Wood, 100 wins, Franklin County Tech? How about the Franklin County Tech being represented in the state tournament? And Frontier being represented in the state tournament? How sweet is that? How about their big guy from Frontier that everyone's been talking about? The young, tough Jackie Frong. That kid is nasty. Big boy. He is in the 295-pound class. He's a Bobby C. man from high school. I was a 295 myself. I didn't wrestle, though. I was running down a basketball court at 295. Yes, I was. And I was playing on the football field at 295. Playing first base at 295. But now, I can't walk. Hey, see? That's what happens when you don't take care of yourself, man. And that's just the way that rolls, folks. But I'll tell you right now, I had fun in my high school days, too. Let's talk about some of these kids. I want to talk about Nate Austin from Frontier. Did a great job taking third place in his big match. And when you take third place in the 195 division of states, that says a lot about you. Nice job, Nate Austin from Frontier. How about Edo Mcmillan? 8th place in the state at the 152 weight class. Brody Wood, 8th place finish for the Franklin County Tech School at the 170-pound weight class. Those kids were able to get things done in that great tournament. They also had a kid from Athol who ended up winning the state championship. Good wrestling in our area. Very good. They even honored the assistant coach of the Franklin County Tech School, Mike Aiken, giving him a special award. It's called the Massachusetts Wrestling Coaches Association Assistant Coach of the Year. He went to his alma mater at Franklin County Tech School, did some volunteering. During his career at the Franklin County Tech, he was a 3-time Western Mass champ, a state Division III placer. He also was the school's first ever person to ever win the state vocational championship. This kid went on to wrestle for Springfield Technical Community College. He also transferred to Bridgewater State College, where he majored in criminal justice. He's currently a paid coach for the football team and the wrestling team, and also leads 5 wrestling clubs. Yes, he does, in the off season. And he works with all these kids from Mahar, Athol, Frontier, Franklin County Tech, and even Mohawk. So this kid's helped all these other kids from other schools, even though that he is the assistant coach at the Franklin County Tech School. A big congratulations to Mike Aiken on that special award. And thank you, Mike, for the dedication and the time that you have put in for these kids, because as you can see, it's really paying off. So as we get ready to wind down another fun Franklin County Varsity Sports Report show, and we talk about where we stand, we know that we have the upcoming basketball seedings. That'll be this week. So we'll have all that information for you on our show next week. We also want you to know that we will have the seedings of the hockey Division 3A. We'll know where Greenfield stands as well. We had a chance to be able to complete the wrestling championships. They're done for the winter. We'll have the upcoming downhill skiing that we'll be able to talk about. And we also just had the track and field finals that went on as well. They have the indoor track program that goes on down at Smith College. We had many locals that did very well in that as well, and we'll get that information for you on our show next week. The one thing I wanted to make sure that we were able to do is to say congratulations to all of our Western Mass athletes from the fall season that did make all Western Mass in their sports. We also wanted to say a big congratulations and a big thank you to Mike Aiken, who was able to get that award for wrestling. We also wanted to be able to give you the full update to be able to let you know where these teams are standing as we get ready for tournament time and how well these kids are playing going in to the upcoming tournament. So when we get together again next week, we'll have a lot more information to share with you about the upcoming tournament. Also coming up in the next few weeks, we'll be getting together with some athletes that we're going to interview here on the show. Looking forward to a special interview with 2 of the 100-win wrestlers from the Franklin County Tech School, which I will sit down with Brody Wood and Kyle Burnell. They'll be on the show coming up in the next couple of weeks. We'll also be able to hear in the month of March. We're looking forward to getting together with 2 girls who are 1,000-point scorers this year from Greenfield High School, and Sam Smith and Reagan Hickey. Looking forward to being able to sit down with them and their coach, John Hickey, and the great year that he has been able to have with a team that he lost some good players from last year. And it didn't really matter because he brought back some of their big studs, and they have really proven why they are a force to reckon with in girls basketball. So until we meet again next week, I'm Bobby C. One last time, I'd like to thank our special underwriters here today, the 4 Leaf Clover Restaurant located on Routes 5 and 10 in Berniston. By our friends at Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield. Also by Hubie's Tavern and Restaurant, Avenue Way in Turners Falls, and by Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield. For my producers, Philippe Simone and John Meisner, I'm Bobby C. Remember, folks, support your local athletes. We got tournament seedings coming up next week.
Thanks for watching the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report on GCTV. Catch a game and be sure to join us next time for more sports and fun.